guys, this is Animat, and welcome back to the Muppet Vlog. Now this time we're going to be looking into the 6th episode of Season 3 of The Muppet Show, which features the one and only Jean Stapleton. Now, to get you guys a bit familiar with Jean Stapleton, she is actually known to be a very prominent actress of stage, television, and of movies, appearing in numerous different projects, but she is actually very well known to play the role of Edith Bunker in the 70s sitcom All in the Family. Her role as Edith was actually so renowned, so popular, and so beloved that she actually ended up getting numerous of nominations for many different awards, but she actually ended up winning 3 Emmys and 2 Golden Globes by playing Edith. Her character was actually so popular enough that she ended up appearing in the spin-off series of All in the Family, which is Archie Bunker's Place. So, with all that said, going into the episode that she appeared in, it was actually quite interesting. This is the kind of episode that doesn't necessarily have a story, but it actually does work very well on its own. It's actually very enjoyable. Like I said before, this does not have like any linear story from beginning to end. It's just a variety of shenanigans that's been going on in backstage on the Muppet Show. This could pretty much feature many different things, from Gonzo trying to have an act, but unfortunately Animal just ate it. And then like there's apparently Gladys brought in a sandwich and she doesn't know who ordered it, so she immediately went to Kermit. And just so many different elements just happen, like so many crazy situations. There's no like continuous story. There isn't like something that's going on from beginning to end, like the last episode with Pearl Bailey, where everything is focused on the Camelot scene. Instead, this one just like, and whatever happens, but they end up being funny, and they all end with a great punchline, thus making it actually quite enjoyable. In fact, even with the special guest with Jean Stapleton, like, she's mostly there during the show. She's not necessarily like the main element. This is like what the episode is about. It's not about Jean Stapleton. It's not about anything. It's just about the regular shenanigans that usually happens in the Muppet Show, and that's what definitely makes it enjoyable, and it really makes it a lot of fun. If I have to go and pick out some memorable moments in this episode specifically, there are a few times that I remember I did get a good laugh. Some of these, if I may recall, like a lot of the backstage stuff are actually highly memorable, and they're actually highly fun, whether it be with Gonzo, or if it would be with Animal, or with Crazy Harry. Those are just a lot of fun no matter what. There are also some on-stage performances that are also a lot of fun, but most of them, what does make them enjoyable is actually with Jean Stapleton. That, like, with her, it actually does add a new layer of comedy, considering that she is also a bit of a comedian herself, more known to play funny parts. Like, she does add some comedic flair into the episode, rather it be at the beginning, play a simple melody with Fozzie, or she would be in a talk spot with Sam the Eagle and Swedish Chef. A weird combination, but it ends up working very well. And also at the end, which I will get to later, because that is actually one of the highlights of this episode. That was actually a lot of fun. Now, what is actually very interesting to mention, however, there is one thing I gotta say. It was something that I kind of noticed throughout the whole thing, and I was very surprised that they didn't, like, play on that they didn't really emphasize, is the way that they would bring in Annie Sue, but they wouldn't really bring in much of Miss Piggy. Because, honestly, throughout the episode, I was thinking to myself that this would be the kind of this is the kind of episode specifically that Miss Piggy would come in and intervene everything. Like, she would get mad at Kermit over the things that happened, because like I said before, Annie Sue would actually be very prominent throughout the episode. I mean, she appeared in numerous different numbers, and she appeared numerous different times throughout the entire thing. And on top of that, there's also an At the Dance sequence where Kermit would be dancing with Miss Mousie. Under normal circumstances, if it were any other episode, Miss Piggy would come in and she would be mad at Kermit for rather it be like prominently displaying Annie Sue a lot more than Miss Piggy, or just like Kermit would be dancing with Miss Mousie. But the one thing that they did, however, is that this episode in particular is the introduction to the melodramas, and according to the when these episodes appeared on television, this is technically the first one that aired on TV, so they did make a full-on introduction to what the melodrama is about. Originally it was supposed to be for Annie Sue, but she got too scared, so Miss Piggy decided to step in to do these melodramas. And even that sketch is actually really funny because you could tell it is the first where Miss Piggy is trying to act out, and then she was surprised seeing that the hero is actually Wayne. And then they would get into these what ends up happening is that Wayne and Uncle Deadly would try to reminisce the old times, just having fun, while Miss Piggy is pretty much getting the short end of the stick. So that bit actually does work out very well. But like I said before, it was actually very surprising that this is the only time that Miss Piggy would step in, more so than the other sketches. There's actually one little bit in here that I would have to say, for me, this is a highlight of the entire season. This is probably one of my favorite bits of Season 3, is with Annie Sue and Rolf. They would play a little old song called Daddy Wouldn't Buy Me a Bow Wow, and Rolf just feels absolutely humiliated, but he's pretty much forced to play that song anyways. That I just feel like it is absolutely hilarious the way that they set everything up, and the way that Rolf just feels humiliated the whole time, and he doesn't really have anything to fight back because Annie Sue has another pig security guard just watching him. That one was absolutely great, and I have to say it is definitely a must-watch. But the finale of this episode is actually another memorable moment. That one is another great one, where Jean Stapleton really wanted to do the final act with Crazy Harry, and of course she would end up singing I'm Just Wild About Harry. And throughout the whole time, you got this really amazing elaborate set, and Crazy Harry would just go out and pull some levers, and he would just end up exploding, just random things going on. And it was actually not only funny, not only entertaining, but it was very impressive. And this is one of the very rare occasions that I was watching it and I was highly impressed by the whole set, how everything is entirely built up to have all these different explosions, and everything just going off, everything is going crazy, everything was just a lot of fun. And once again, Jean Stapleton steps in to really add a new dimension, add a new layer of comedy. You could tell that, even though everything is exploding around her, you can tell that she is just having a blast, no pun intended, but she is just enjoying the fridge out of herself. She loves every second of it. Being in this set singing I'm Just Wild About Harry while everything around her explodes. It's just a lot of fun. And I guess to summarize the entire episode, everything about it is a lot of fun. There really isn't an episode in particular. Well, there is. What I mean is that there isn't really a storyline in particular to follow through. But this is the kind of episode that the Muppets just focus on having fun. Just go wild, just go crazy. Whatever happens, happens. This is just looking behind the scenes of what's going on in the Muppet Show and just have fun with it. Just see all the crazy shenanigans that ensue. This is what would normally happen in the Muppet Show. And just everything that they added in is just a lot of fun. Rather it be the guest star with Jean Stapleton, you could tell that she really is enjoying herself. Also, there are different elements, like the different sketches, whether it be like the melodrama, the Muppet Labs, or like some of the songs even, especially with Daddy Wouldn't Buy Me a Bow Wow. And just, everything about it is just fun, it's enjoyable, and you know, this is definitely, this is the kind of episode that does emphasize the humor, the wackiness, and the fun that the Muppet Show would offer. So I would absolutely say that I would probably categorize this as one of the highlights of Season 3. It's definitely a lot of fun, it's enjoyable. Like, technically, it's not necessarily a full-on episode, it doesn't have a full-on story, but it doesn't focus on that. It's all about the fun. So anyways, that is pretty much it for this week in the... So anyways, that is pretty much it for this episode of the Muppet Vlog, so I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and we shall see if the fun will continue with the next episode of the Muppet Show. If they can continue this tone, that would actually be fantastic, but I just want to say once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!